This segment brought to you by Heinen Brothers Ag, farmers helping farmers by offering quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia. Call today to protect your crop yield.
Well, we've just come out of the second strongest La Nina, the opposite of El Nino, that we have had in the recorded history of about 200 years. And this second strongest one brought us a disastrous drought, the drought that we had in the Corn Belt of 2012. That's the first official drought, widespread drought, that we've had in the Corn Belt since 1988. And that's because of that La Nina. Well, coming out of a very strong La Nina, a pendulum, when you push it way off to the left, is likely to swing far to the right and then swing quite a ways to the left again. So we're expecting that we are in a period of extremes or volatility going from one extreme to the other in weather from year to year, or maybe it will be more like in 18-month periods to 18-month periods. This strong El Nino does give us a 70% chance of an above trend line yield for both corn and soybean in the Corn Belt. That means that we would have perhaps lower prices if other factors don't come into play, and we'll let the economists discuss that, but at least greater yields to deal with. And also, this can have another effect up in the wheat country of the Northwest. When we have record high corn yields, we don't have record high wheat yields because they happen in different places, where the effect of El Nino is exactly the opposite. When we've gone through a similar situation, we've had an El Nino last a full 2 years rather than the normal 14 months, which is the average for an El Nino. So if it goes its 14 months, that gets us well into 2016 and off to a good start for the crop, but it could still go bad after that, in fact, like it did back in 83. The main thing is, with El Nino, we tend to have closer to average conditions rather than extremes. That is, the summer is not oppressively hot. When there's an El Nino, the winter is not bitterly cold. And that is good news for people with cattle outside and people with winter wheat sticking up out of the ground. And this is a real factor because we don't get a sudden change from La Nina to El Nino. That's a gradual one over months, a gentle change. But when a strong El Nino ends, it can suddenly go to a La Nina condition, such as the major drought we had in 1988 began just weeks after the end of an El Nino as we went into a La Nina. So we can suddenly shift, and you have to be ready in your risk management for a sudden change. Are we going to have 3 years or 4 years of high yield? No, suddenly this is a bad year. Or maybe it's still going to stay a good one. After El Nino, you must be ready for the yields to change quickly, and accordingly the prices of the grain to change and all the reverberations that will have through other markets. We have a lot of history to back up this idea that we are in a pattern, that this 25 years will be highly volatile, not 3 years in a row of record high yields, not to say there won't be 2, but not likely 3. If you're a farmer, then you can remember the 80s and remember what I should have done, do it this time, because it may be a repeat.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.